Hi, everyone. If you have not already watched the Edpuzzle video that is in this slide deck, I would ask that you go back and do that first before we do the actual art piece, because it's important that you understand and know a little bit about the life and the work of this artist we are going to emulate today. His name is Piet Mondrian, and he was a Dutch painter. And in the Edpuzzle video, you'll get to see a little bit about his life, but also the way his art evolved over time to get to the point that he was creating the work that he is most famous for, and that we're going to try to recreate today. So if you haven't done that already, please go back and watch that little Edpuzzle video first, and then come on back earlier to you. So we are actually going to create a piece of art that is very much in the style of Piet Mondrian. So what we're going to start with, though, is we're going to start in Google Slides. And I have a kind of standard sized slide here. You can make it any size that you would like. You might want to turn it more to a portrait orientation, make it more square, more standard size. This is the standard widescreen, okay, because I would like mine to be more of a horizontal kind of piece of art. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add a table into this big space. So I'm going to go into Insert, and I'm going to, insert a table, and I'm going to go across to, let's say, 9, let's do 9 by 7, like this. And I'm going to drag this table up into the corner, and I'm going to drag it down here, because we want to fill up this whole, not the whole screen, but because you don't want to go off the edges, but we want to really kind of fill that screen. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color and the thickness of my lines. So to do that, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into where it says border color. It's this little pen here, and I'm going to click on black, and I'm going to make these quite thick. I'm going to make them 8. If I go in here, the 8 pixel size. So now I have this kind of grid. But if you remember from the little video of his paintings, they were not all the same size squares and rectangles. But because he was really influenced by Cubism and that type of art, much of what he would have on here would, all of it is going to be rectangles and squares. So what I'm going to do to create a whole bunch of different sized squares and rectangles in here is I'm going to click into one of my little cells here, and I'm going to highlight those. Let's start with these 6. I'm going up into my format up here. I'm going to hit the word table, and I'm going to go down to where it says merge cells. I'm sorry about the rattling in the background here. My puppy is determined that I'm going to be playing with him at the same time that I'm doing this lesson. Now, when I let go of that, I now have a very big open space. Okay, and I might leave these 2 little guys here as small cells, but I think I might just, let's do these ones here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go up here into table and down here to merge cells. And this time I don't want to keep these the same because I don't want them to be kind of similar to the ones above it. So now I'm going to kind of drag my cursor, my mouse across, maybe to here, and I'm going to merge these cells. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm creating what would have been the sets of lines that Mondrian would have used as he was putting together his artwork. So I'm going to join these 2. And you can do this however you would like. You certainly do not need to do it the way I'm doing it. You could have made your grid bigger or smaller. You could maybe have only 6 squares across in the table. You can make it whatever size. I liked this size because I liked the size of the individual cells. Okay, I'm going to come down here. And you just do this all through until you feel like you have a design that you really like. I'm going to join these two guys. You always go back to Format, Table, and Merge Cells. Now, I don't want to have too many straight across lines. If you remember from his work, they would all kind of overlap like they didn't all line up perfectly. So I'm going to do one that's 4 here, Format, Table, Merge Cells. Because you want to do a real mix of things, sort of long rectangles, shorter ones, and you don't want them too like right next to each other. You want to kind of really mix it up. I think I might do a little double one here. Format, Table, Merge Cells. We're just going to keep doing that all the way through the entire table that you have here. Maybe these 3. And really mix up how you got your thicknesses of your rectangles. So lengths and thicknesses. There's a really annoying puppy in the background here. I don't know if you can hear him. He's driving me a little bit crazy. Oops. Oh, there he goes. All right. So now, if you remember from that video, some of his white spaces, he added some extra lines in there. Now, to try to do that in a table, you're going to end up with, like, say if I go in here and I try to divide this into, like, sort of add a row, it's going to go right across. So the better way to do that on this kind of screen is we're going to go up to this line tool right here. We're going to click on that. Sorry, on the little arrow. We're going to click line, and then you'll get that little cross that shows up, and that's going to be where you're going to use your lines. So I think I'm going to do one right here. I'm going to click my little cross thing there, and then I get a line, if you see that. So it sort of drops it in, and then what you need to do is you grab the other end of it, and you don't want it when it's on this, let me see if I can get it again. I don't want the little moving cross. I want the little light cross, and that's going to just move that end and swing it up. So I'm going to get it right across here, and I'm going to make that also black, but I also want it to be the same width. And you can do that in a couple of places. So I'm going to choose another one. Maybe I'll do a vertical one here. So I click at the one end, and then I want to swing this guy around. I want to try and make it really nice and straight. I'm going to go in here and make it black and make it 8 pixels. Okay. And I might just do one little one here because I think I'm going to leave this little square white. And the nice thing about doing this on doing it digitally, whoops, you can tell it didn't click properly when you don't get that little X. The nice thing about doing it digitally is you can kind of go in and go, yeah, I don't really like that. And then you can just erase it. It isn't like doing a piece of work that you think, oh, now I have to start all over again. There. So I think I'm going to leave my double lines now. I think that's as much as I want. So at this point, I want to choose my colors. And if you recall, most of Mondrian's work involved primary colors and some secondary colors as well. So you can choose, do you want to just do primary colors with a little bit of black and white? Do you want to do primary and secondary colors? And if you do that, think about the placement of your color. Think back to our color wheel. and choosing colors that are harmonious or colors that are next to each other on the wheel or that are complementary, that are across from each other on that wheel. And you want to think about that when you're putting colors next to each other. And on a design like this, we also just want to make sure we don't have the same color right next to another one, another square with or rectangle with the same color. So let's just start and we'll kind of play around with this. So I'm going to click, and because this is a table, you just have to click in any of these spots. We're going to go up to our fill bucket here, our little fill paint bucket, and click. Now, I don't really want to use these super bright colors. I want to go down to probably about this row where they're a little bit more muted. So maybe we'll start in this corner here with a red. I think I'm going to go with this kind of a deep kind of red. So already, look at how striking that is. Okay, now I'm going to come down here, and all you have to do is just click into that square or that rectangle. And this time, I'm going to think about the colors that are complementary, that are across from each other. I'm going to pull in a green. And this is the little one I'm going to leave this one white with the extra line in here. So I'm going to come down here, go back to my paint bucket. And I'm going to go with a nice blue. So in mine, I'm going to put in the secondary colors as well, not just the primaries, but you can certainly do it either way. You can do it with just primary colors, the red, yellow, and blue. That looks very striking as well. And the nice thing is we can kind of show both of them on here. I'm going to come back up here. This time I think I'm going to do one that's more of a harmonious color. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to go with a nice orange. Now, I don't want to use red because I don't want it here, and I don't want to use blue because I don't want it here. And I feel like it's kind of close to this green. So what do you think would be a good color for here? I think I'm going to go with another secondary color. And I think I'm going to go with a nice... Now, to me, I look at that and I think, that's a very light color. Mondrian's colors were tended to be very bold and strong, so I think I'm going to change that. I'm going to go back in here, and let's see if I do use that bright purple. Feels too bright to me. So I think what that tells me is I need to do a custom color. So if you get these colors in this little palette and you don't like any of them, so now I have my purple one picked. I'm going to go down here to custom, and I can choose now from this whole kind of space where I can just soften that a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, I like that much better. It's not as bright. Okay. Now, a color that is really good with both blue and purple is yellow. I'm going to pop in some yellow right there. Okay. Now, along this one here, we're a good bit away from the orange up here. We could actually do orange down along here. Let's see what that looks like. And again, you can be choosing whatever color you want to put into yours. And I feel like I want to kind of go diagonal here. So I think in this one is where I'm going to do my red. Come back up here. And I don't want to do two blues that are straight across here from each other. So I might change that. I might have my red here and make this green down here. Again, the nice thing about doing this digitally is you can kind of play around with it. It's like, I don't really like that. I can change that. And you can look at the placement of things once you're completely finished. Back up here. This one I'm going to make my red. And again, I come way across here from blue, so I can add my blue to this one. You just click in that little space, fill bucket. There we go. And I'm going to leave this guy white with that extra line in it. And here I'm going to do my yellow, I think, on this one. when I look at these two together, I feel like there's not enough contrast there. So I might have to go back in here and move these around, make it a bit different. All right, now we haven't had a purple in a while, so I don't want to do yellow because that's here, not red, not green. Blue is a little bit close here, although I could do a blue, but I think I'm going to pull in some purple. And we did a custom purple color. So when you go to get your custom color, it's right down here. Now this one, I think I'm just going to leave this little tiny space white. I think I'm going to, oh no, you know what? I can't do that, I don't think. No, because, now there's a good thing. The reason, because I had added this line, this is not, if I did this one color, the whole thing would go that color. So I'm going to leave it white. So now I want something that's kind of down in this area, right? I don't want to have another blue side by side. And it's pretty close to this purple. I want to bring something from this side. So what do you guys think? I think orange. We're going to come up here to an orange. Back to my fill bucket. Orange. That looks like a darker orange. Let's see, which orange did I use? Oh, I think I did the same thing here. Yes, I did. There we go. So we have one more here left to color. So I have red here, but I also have red that's kind of right across. We could have our blue that kind of goes in this upside down V shape where your eye would go. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this one, blue. Now, if you remember from the Mondrian film, the little video, is you could leave a lot more of this white if you wanted to and add a lot more lines in here. But as we have that completed, that is, now I'm not happy with this, the orange and the yellow next to each other. I feel like there's not enough contrast there. So I think I'm actually going to flip these. I'm going to make this one green. And I'm going to make this one orange. So you can see that as you start doing this, it's like, but now I get two oranges here. How do I feel about that? I think I'm okay with that. All right. So when I look at that, I think, yeah, that's actually a pretty cool Mondrian picture. And, oh, but now something has hit my eye that I don't like. I don't like that I have two greens on this side and two oranges on this side. So how would you fix that? I think I'm going to flip these again. Oh, I'm sorry. My puppy is seeing something outside. There we go. I think I'm going to flip these. Let's just see if that looks better. Again, the great thing about doing this online is we can just move them around. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with those mixes of colors. I like that we have harmonious colors in some spots and we have complementary colors in other places. I like that the colors are spread out around the space. I think that makes for a really nice composition, which means like where you place things. I do like that we have some white spaces that are left. I think I'm happy with that. Now, if you want to go back and check things out though, you can kind of say, you know, what if I just leave this white? And what if I leave these both white? Do I like that better? Right? Because he certainly had lots of his pieces that had quite a few white spots. You could even kind of put some white spots together because he definitely had some of that. You can look and go, oh, that's kind of interesting. So that's the really great thing. This is all, you can go back and forth, check out what colors you think work, what doesn't work, and do it until you feel like, yeah, I'm happy with this. Of course, the trick is remembering what you put where. So now I'm just going to go doing undo buttons and then I can remember. So there you go. There is a Mondrian painting done using tables and lines and the fill bucket. I hope you've had some fun with this. Try it out with a couple of different things. You can do some that have more spaces in your table, less spaces in your table. Try it out as many different ways as you can and come up with one that you really like. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget, when you're finished the piece that you really like the best, make sure you put it into your art portfolio. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.